War has come to the neutral system of Mandalore. The galactic battleground is expanding as planet after planet is soaked in blood and oil.
Hey everyone, we are coming out of our Patreon episode, the exclusive content that our patrons get every single week, where you get to hear our unhinged selves really shine through. Please consider supporting us at patreon.com/talkabouttatooine. Every little bit helps. Now, time for the show. It is time to take refuge from the shitstorm that's the outside world, and let's talk about some more relaxing topics, why don't we? Today's topic, the hostile takeover an entire people. Yay! All of the U.S. Senate perks up at the sound of oil like Sarah Sherman in a squirrel suit on SNL's Weekend Update. They're like, oh my god, where?
That's a really funny image. She's very funny. Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on their favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina and grab a drink as we settle in for course. I fricked it up and set course for realities beyond our own. 146 episodes, and I still can't get it right.
At least it was you and not me this time. Welcome everybody to episode 146. Today's recording date is March 19th, 2026, and this episode will be released on Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Hit that like and subscribe button and join the Silly Goose Brigade.
Doesn't matter if you've been in the fandom for 10 years or 10 seconds, you are welcome, and we're happy you're here. Also, with all of the mistakes we make in the podcast and are very obvious, we are clearly not AI.
I was like, where are you go? I was like, where is he going with this? I like that. Yes. We are not AI. AI can't be this dumb. We're special flavor. You're welcome, world.
AI can absolutely be that dumb. Dude, people are just
AI's dumb, but in its own way. Because it hallucinates half of the time.
Yeah, the slop machine that trips out all the time and tells people that they maybe are being followed. Have you seen Eddie Burback's episode about AI and how it leads him down this crazy rabbit hole?
No, I have not. Please give me a short synopsis.
He basically convinces ChatGPT that he was the smartest baby, as an infant, freshly born, that he was the most intelligent, and ChatGPT just absolutely gasses him up the whole time. ChatGPT, because a lot of these responses are sycophantic in their agreeableness, and so it totally agrees with him. It's yeah, you were the smartest baby without question. And then he's like, I think people are following me, and it goes, yeah, I agree, what are we gonna do now? And
what
he feeds it a purposely dangerous narrative to see if ChatGPT is going to steer him away from making terrible life decisions. And it's 30 minutes of it's really good. Eddie Burback over on YouTube, he does a really good job. Also, the Claude logo, do you know what it looks like?
No, I don't. Why do I feel like this is going to be something really bad?
Please look it up real quick. Just look up Claude AI, Claude, and tell me what you see. The orange logo. What does that look like?
Hey man, that's an asshole.
Dude, it's straight up a beehole.
It's a sphincter.
Every time it comes on, I just say too much, because we get Claude commercials all the time when we're watching. I think it's Prime or something, which I'm ugh, you guys are so gross. Every time it comes on, I don't comment anything. I say one word. I just go butthole under my breath and I move on.
Hey y'all, we don't need AI. It's not a net positive for society.
Nope.
And if you're using it, you should not use it and use your brain instead. Please.
AI is actually trying to crash the US economy as fast as it possibly can, and Trump is barely not catching up. It's so stupid. We live in the dumbest timeline. That's actually not why we're here, though.
We're here to escape the realities of this world, brother. Let's talk about some other dystopias. Andrew, can you start us off with our weekly reminder to read a book?
All right, so I was inspired to ask this question when a certain trailer came out that we will talk about in our Nerddom News segment at the end of the episode, so stick around for that. But if you... here's a question just for people out there. If you haven't already read Dune or Dune Messiah, should you pick them up before Dune Part 3 comes out?
As my answer to that, and hopefully we'll get everyone's answers down in the comments as well. So again, if you're seeing this, are you going to read Dune and Dune Messiah before Dune Part 3 comes out? That's our question for our listeners. I think, yes, people should. However, I know that it's dense. I know that it's science fiction in a way that we don't truly appreciate science fiction anymore, but
it's weird.
It is weird. It is weird. There's a lot of like weird sounding words, and it's kind of written a little bit glup shitty, so that's fun. But I think a lot of people will appreciate fandoms like Star Wars a lot more if they read Dune, as it is the direct inspiration for the franchise that we have staked our entire podcast onto. Also,
Correct.
The trailer just killed it.
Dude,
Paul
that
doing the
trailer,
war chant.
man.
So can you hear his voice doing the war chants in the background? It's so nice. Dude, tell me, would Paul Atreides and Darrow Olikos be a great team or what?
Okay, I think of Darrow all the time when I'm reading the Red Rising books. I'm almost through Dark Ages, and a certain thing has happened. You're
also reading Dark Age right now?
I'm in part 3. I just got to chapter 69, and
noise.
And I felt a portion of my soul die.
Cool, because this book is rough so far. I'm also reading Dark Age, and I'm going to pull it up right now. So I'm going to be a bad podcaster and look at my phone really quick. TikTok's trying to open. Be gone, slime.
Be gone, clip clop.
Okay, Libby, it's opening. I am 31% of the way through, which puts me on chapter, it's loading, 29. You are 40 chapters ahead of me, and I am still in part 2.
I will give you credit, though. You are hauling through that book. This is now the third round I have had to check out Dark Ages because I just am not getting through it very quickly. I will say I'm definitely internalizing and digesting the subject matter because it's taking me a long time to get through. But it's also actively killing my soul. Like, I will finish this series. I will probably buy hardback covers of this, but I'm a little mad at Pierce Brown. Actually, I'm pretty mad at Pierce Brown. I'm like, why did you... the certain thing happened. And I'm like, you didn't have to do that, man.
That's how I felt multiple times across this series. And I'm like, he just keeps hurting. I finish the books, and sometimes I'm like, I got to take a break. I got to listen to like some Sanderson or something.
Yeah.
I need something that's a little bit lighter than this. And then I go back into it, and I'm like, oh, God, yeah, that's good. Like, reading all of the different perspectives from Virginia, oh, my gosh, she is sinister. Like, not like evil sinister, but she is, like, cunning and sharp as a whip. Like, sharp as a whip? That's not the phrase.
I think that actually is the phrase, but I understand what you mean.
Sharp as a whip. There we go. We're saying it now.
I mean, she has to be, like, the smartest person in The Rising. Like,
100%.
She is Sherlock Holmes Moriarty level of intelligence.
100%. Her perspective is shocking. Also, Pierce Brown writes a hell of a political thriller. I don't think I could, if you had given me 100 years, write something as good as the content that he's putting out.
It gives me a lot of hope that, like, political thrillers in the Star Wars universe can do really well. I think George Lucas in the prequels tried to make a good political thriller and had the elements and almost like the genesis of a good political thriller, but then he didn't capitalize on it very well. He didn't execute his vision, I think, really well. It kind of came across as a little silly at points, a little too much comic relief in certain places, but also like there's a little bit of like, at least for us, as we get older, we've enjoyed grittier and grittier content, and things with a lot of comic relief don't really have a ton of appeal. That's not really even like a dig against Star Wars. It's just like I'm just a little bit more dead inside, and that's what I seek out of my media.
Yeah, 100%. Andrew, we also got a Patreon question this week from one of our listeners. Can you share that?
Yes, this is a good Patreon question. We've kind of talked around it a little bit in past episodes, but I think directly addressing it, I think, is really good. So the question is, what is your opinion of Maul returning compared to Palpatine somehow returning? First off, reviving characters in science fiction and fantasy is a known trope, and it can be done well, and it can be done really poorly. And I'm going, at least in my opinion, Maul was done very well, and Palpatine was terrible. So much so that, like, Palpatine somehow returning, I think, actually drove a lot of people away from Star Wars, because they saw their 9th climactic movie, and, like, you're just like, why is this the plot? Like, 7 and 8 didn't build up to this, and then Palpatine is just back. Like, it felt very disjointed, which behind the scenes we know is true because the directors were, like, actively feuding with each other. Like, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson did not agree on a narrative direction for the sequel trilogy, and the fans paid for it. Like that.
Yeah, and it shows. Jeez.
Yeah. So, but the thing is with Maul, we see where he left off from, and all of, like, how he, like, kept himself alive through just rage and anger and just this, almost just like feeding off of the dark side itself. Whether or not his injury was actually like, a normal person would not have survived Maul's injury, especially after falling down the shaft. But one thing we know between Palpatine's original death and Maul's death is when Maul fell down a shaft, the shaft didn't also atomize his body, because, like, when Palpatine falls down the Death Star reactor, you know, there's this gigantic plume of fire that comes out. That is telling us, the audience, it's like there is nothing left. He is for sure dead.
Yeah, that body gone. So you mentioned this. The bad guys coming back from the dead is actually really common in Star Wars, and I think it's an okay plot line, because you guys should know we talk about the Sith on here a lot. We did an entire series on different Sith Lords, but that was their whole shtick, was literally living forever and cheating death. So when it actually happens, I don't think we should be surprised. However, like, it needs to be explained well, right? You can't give me the Bantha. Sorry, I said Bantha with a hard R. My bad.
Whoa,
whoa! The Bantha fodder explanation of, like, somehow Palpatine returns. Like, you can't do that to the fans again, because that, like, you said it very well. Like, the directors were feuding about this storyline, and we suffered for it. We got the bad story, and Disney still took all our money. So again, it happens in Star Wars all the time. It happens in Legends. It happens in canon all the time. Multiple examples. We could go on and on. Palpatine's is the worst, though.
And the thing is even to understand how Palpatine did what he did, we get a little bit of a peek into it, I think, in... actually, no, because, like, you don't even see, like, the cloning chambers of Palpatine until, like, the intro of Episode 9, correct? When Kylo is doing his actually very cool, like, montage through Mustafar to get the Wayfinder and to eventually find Exegol. That's actually a cool scene. I like that. I have very few notes about that. It was
very fun. I liked that scene.
And then he finds the Emperor, and that part I have no problem with. I was like, this is interesting. But then to just be greeted with, oh, well, shoot, we need to make sure that, like, the good guys know, like, what the stakes are and what the problem is. Poe is like,
this is such lazy exposition. Like,
it's so lazy. Like
the audience knows it. They could have not said it. They could have done it in other ways. They could have done like propaganda. There could have been like Kylo Ren could have relayed that to the First Order and been like, hey, this big thing happens. A spy in the First Order then relays that to the Resistance. So, like, there's an element of, like, espionage. But no, them just being like, he's back. That is so lazy. And how dare they waste Oscar Isaac's talent on such a garbage line? How dare they?
I think if they were to pull off Palpatine returning, they should have started sowing the seeds of that in episode 7.
Correct. Absolutely. Because who's Snoke? Snoke doesn't even matter to the story.
He's a no one. He literally doesn't matter. He could have been very cool if he had just been like a random person who like took up the mantle of the Sith, you know, a person who gets enamored with the legend of the Sith, realizes or knows that they have force sensitive abilities, perhaps finds a holocron and is corrupted by it, and then is cast down by the returned Palpatine, because Palpatine, like, what does he say to Maul on Mandalore, which we're not going to cover this episode, but he's like, he says to Maul in the Clone Wars, he says, "You have become a rival," and then he kicks the shit out of him. Like,
yeah, he does.
That, I think, is what the viewers would have liked to see like or hear Palpatine's voice come out from the darkness. And even at this point, we are still not really aware of how Palpatine came back, because the midi-chlorians or the M-count plotline of The Mandalorian is not finished. We don't, like, it potentially is going to get finished in the movie, but like it's a weak association, in my opinion. It's a little weak. It doesn't really stand up. And the thing is you have to read quite a few of the new books that happened between 6 and 7 to understand the contingency plans that Palpatine has put into place. And even then, I don't even know that it's worth reading these books. And the specific books I'm talking about is the Empire's End trilogy. Those are talk about Palpatine's. Do you have them?
I have 2 of them right here.
You have 2 of them. They're a little slow at points, but I think it does end well. Like I enjoyed at least the 3rd one, but getting there was a little bit hard. But it does talk about Palpatine's contingency plan, and I knew right away, I was like, people are not reading these books, and it is not going to be clear to a lot of Star Wars fans how Palpatine got back. And yeah, I didn't like it for that reason. But Maul, I think, coming back, they like did tease it, and they did talk about, like, they laid the groundwork of, the Night Sisters being involved, and how a person can survive on pure rage. Like, we know Darth Sion did that. And it wasn't just like, oh, by the way, he's back. Because that is what we got with Palpatine, and that's bad. That feels bad. It's not very respectful to us as fans, and I think it just, like, it doesn't hold up to, like, rewatches. Like, I don't want to rewatch the sequel trilogy. What am I supposed to watch?
Agreed.
And the thing is, I want Rey as a character to succeed. I want her to do really well, because I see how excited young female Star Wars fans get over Rey, and that brings true joy to my heart. And I want her to do well, because, like, male Star Wars fans can be really mean, and I would like them to be silenced. It's the fandom menace we talked about. So there's a lot of conflicting things about it. It didn't really do Rey's character all that much justice, especially, like, Evil Rey. Do you remember when we saw Evil Rey in the trailer?
That was so cool.
I
wanted that to be a main plot point so bad.
And it's
I was
just
like, double blade, switchblade, lightsaber thingy. Let's go.
It was so cool. And it felt like a tease. Like, it was like, here's nothing. Here's a nothing sandwich. God. Okay, we are going to move on to the meat of our episode. We're so happy you guys are here with us. So we're going to be talking about episodes 14 and 15 out of season 5 of the Clone Wars. We're not going to go point by point. Instead, we're going to do a little bit of kind of a question and answer format to kind of get you guys up to speed for what's going to be happening in Maul Shadow Lord, and how this character, where he was and where he is going, and hopefully making some predictions along the way, essentially, while doing a scene by scene recount can be a lot of fun. We think the question and answer method is going to be a little bit better for our listeners. So the first question that I see you have answered incredibly seriously is, Maul still aspiring for the mantle of Sith at this point in the story?
Okay, first of all, I didn't write that first portion. You did. I added to it, but I did not originally write that.
Because I just wrote ass. Because so what? Okay, what happened was I was not being a pervert.
It was a classic ASD filler.
It was a classic
Gone
ASD
wrong.
filter, and I actually accidentally wrote ass, which now that I say it out loud, just sounds not believable whatsoever. Like the entire chat is just doing, hey, press X to doubt. Like, of course you're a pervert. Look at him. But it does say ass, 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 and titties in our notes.
Oh yeah, I had to finish the line. So,
but you didn't actually answer the question, or at least you didn't write down your answer.
No, I did not write down my answer.
Is Maul still aspiring for Mantle of the Sith?
At this point, yes, he is. Sorry, I'm thinking Maul Shadow Lord. I'm like, my brain is like way too far ahead.
We are going to talk about that. So, yeah, so I should have wrote the question in a different way. Where we're at now, is Maul aspiring for Mantle of the Sith? And is that going to be his end goal in Maul Shadow Lord? So, two-parter.
Yes, absolutely. He is trying to consolidate power at this point. He is basically finding a foothold because he knows, again, he's like, the Clone Wars, it started without me. He knows that there's a galactic level conflict going on right now, and he needs an army. What better than Mandalorians and criminal syndicates, which, if you guys don't know, the criminal syndicates of the galaxy basically occupy all of the Outer Rim and a huge portion of what's called Hut Space, which is the galactic east coast of the current galaxy that we are in. So huge portions of space. Why are you laughing?
It's Space Florida.
It's like space. It's like Space DC, where it's
Very
located.
swampy.
I should say very swampy. Yeah, because it's Hut Space. Yeah, it all just kind of has a miasma about it. So they occupy such a huge portion of the galaxy that if, again, unified under one banner, they would pose a significant threat to the Republic and Separatist alliances, and Maul would have a fighting chance to take on Palpatine because he knows, like, one-on-one, he's like, nah, that's not going to work. But he also can't fight the army. He knows that Palpatine's pulling the strings. He knows that he's behind that, and he knows that the Empire is coming. So he's got to get ready.
Yeah, at this point in the story, he is not satisfied with where he's at in his station. He's like, yeah, I'm absolutely going to be the next big superpower. What about in Shadow Lord? So we know some certain things happen, but we really don't know what's going to happen in Shadow Lord. What do you think is going to be Maul's his focus?
So this is Maul as he is the head of the Crimson Sun, correct?
Crimson Dawn, I think.
You're right, Crimson Dawn. It's the Black Sun. That's the other
Black
syndicate.
Sun and the Crimson Dawn. Yes, that's confusing.
Cool. Too many solar analogies.
Too many solar analogies preceded by a color.
Great formula, though. Does sound great. No. So my question is like, so when he's trying to run the Crimson Dawn, no, I don't think he's trying to. I think he's just trying to, like, exhibit power over part of the galaxy that he knows the Empire will probably never take over. And I think Palpatine's okay with not taking over, like, all of the Outer Rim and all of Hut Space. I think he's, like, kind of okay with that. Because the Empire kind of works with criminals all the time.
Quite often. It's actually one of the plot. It is the plot of Star Wars Outlaws, and it's very satisfying conclusion, in my opinion. You guys should play that game. It's super fun, and it's probably on sale right now for, like, super cheap, so get it while you can. And so the thing is as Mandalore is being embroiled in these false flag attacks, and it being embroiled, and it is the start of it, kind of their own civil war. I don't think it's ever called the Mandalorian Civil War, but, like, that is what it is Maul is taking a portion of the Mandalorians, an outlier portion, and turning them not against the people, but so that they now rule over and conquer the rest of the Mandalorians. So that is his goal, and he's like, I am trying to challenge for the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith. As far as what's going to happen in Maul Shadow Lord, I have a hard time seeing Maul being content with where he's at. Like, no matter how much power he accumulates, I think he's always going to want more, and I think that's going to get him in a lot of trouble. Because, do you remember where we find him in Star Wars Rebels?
Stuck in a Sith temple.
By himself.
Yeah. I'm all alone.
There's no one here beside me. Something happens between Maul's criminal empire and what we think is his forced exile onto the planet of Malachor, but we actually don't know if it's forced. He might have just gone on a little sojourn, and that's why he is where he's at. We don't know. But we're gonna find out. Almost certainly we're gonna find out.
That also brings us... Do you want to move on to the next question? That brings us to our next question. Will we see Kenobi in the new Maul series? Andrew, start us off on that. What do you think?
Almost certainly not. This is not Kenobi's story. It's not even Kenobi's mission. At this point, Obi-Wan Kenobi has very little concern for the rest of the galaxy. His primary objective is protecting the Skywalker twins, and even in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, he's pretty, like, they have to kind of pull him away from Tatooine and watching over Luke to go then help out child Leia. It is difficult for him to be like, he's like, well, this is my post. Like, I gave you child Leia so you could watch over her because I can't be in two places at once.
And Leia is objectively more safe than Luke is.
Oh yeah, it is not fair how, like, the short end of the stick that Luke gets compared to Leia being placed literally into royalty. I mean, I wish they both could have had what Leia had.
Men are oppressed too much.
Shut up.
Got him.
This is not turning into this. What I'm learning from Star Wars is some manosphere bullshit.
You know, I was reading some Andrew Tate tweets the other day.
Dude, I will actually kill you.
As you should.
Oh gosh, what a loser! Straight up, what these guys.
We don't have time for that, brother.
You're right. Can you re-rail us, please?
Why do you got? Cool. Okay. The question was, are we going to see Kenobi and Maul? No. And hot take, I don't want to see Kenobi and Maul. I don't want to see him there.
Preach it. Say it louder.
I don't want to see Kenobi and Maul. I don't want to see Kenobi and Maul.
Don't want to see him in Kenobi.
Yeah, not even a chance. I want to see the seedy part of the galaxy. I want to see, like, elements of, like, the Zon Consortium come back and them just be like, hey, man, half the characters on our TV show, we're going to heavily imply that they're addicted to drugs. Like, let's give them some spice, like problems. Let's get them embroiled in gambling schemes. I'm like, come on, guys, do the dark thing. Make it seedy.
Well, it seems like they're already going to, because if you watch the Maul Shadow Lord trailer that just came out like yesterday, incredibly violent. Wow.
And a little spooky. Really loved it.
Yeah. Loved that so much. Maul would be such a good horror villain. I also just really like that they called his lightsaber a laser sword.
You saw that too? Oh, yeah, that pissed me off. I was like, stop calling it a laser sword.
But I mean, that's so like in canon, people don't understand what lightsabers are, and I think that's like totally fair, and like maybe not fair. Interesting, I think, is the point, because there's so much like mystery around the weapon of the Jedi. And after Palpatine eradicates the Jedi Order, it becomes even more shrouded in mystery.
Unfortunately. Let's move on to our next point. Andrew, you had a good question here. Will we see anyone from the mainline story of Maul? In Maul.
You should start off this one. I like your answer. I think it's insane, but sure.
So insane. No, I think this is a very rational take, actually. I think the fans are really going to like this one. Maybe we put some Amidala's back into the storyline. Maybe we do that. Not exactly Natalie. I mean Padme, but like maybe like a cousin or something asking for a friend. But seriously, there's a body double Although the first one gets killed. So maybe there's a body triple, and let's get that one in. Let's get some more Natalie Portman up on the show.
So in the comics, well, first off, you deserve the spray bottle. I'm just going to say that. If I could spray you right now, I totally would.
Rude.
The second point is...
I speak for the people. Vox Populi.
No, they're bad.
That can't possibly be right.
Anyway, that's not why we're here. That can't be true. The mob knows best, don't you know? Oh God, what was I saying? The remaining handmaidens of Padme actually try to kill Darth Vader in the comics.
That's so metal. Let's go.
Dude, it's so metal. They're like, and they had to have known they were not going to win, but they still try. And it brings tears to my eyes, even just like hearing about it, because I haven't read those comics specifically, but I've heard other content creators talk about this, and they'll show like frames from the comics, and I'm like, I'm really getting in my feelings now, and I was just here for memes, and now I'm crying. As far as like who from the mainline story we'll see in Maul,
okay, before you go into your answers, you give me crap about my answers, bringing back a beloved character of the Star Wars universe, and you bring these takes to the table. We'll let the people decide. Andrew, continue.
Justice for thee, but not for me. The characters I want to see back. We don't know what happens to Jar Jar Binks. We don't know what his fate is. We used to know the fate of the Gungan people in a Legends comic book. The Empire uses chemical warfare and kills them all. It's quite ghastly.
It's called a genocide.
It is straight up genocide. We also don't know the fate of a Colonel Meeber Gascon.
Stop
He's
it.
interesting. And maybe just like 20% more droids.
No droid episodes.
No droid episodes. I could not tell you who we're going to see. I think we'll probably see Kira, who is one of the very higher ups of Crimson Dawn. I think that's totally possible. And potentially, gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. The one who is above Kira in the Crimson Dawn, but below Maul, played by Paul Bettany. Can't remember because I haven't watched Solo basically since it came out.
Hey man, I have only watched Solo once, and the only reason I would watch it again is for Kira.
She's awesome. She's like the epitome of like a badass bad girl. She's not a good person. She's quite evil, actually. She is only out there for herself. But
she's also played by Emilia Clarke, and I love Emilia Clarke. Probably
Most
as much as
people
I
do.
love Padme. You know what I mean?
Squirt, squirt. Nope.
Spray.
Spray.
Spritz.
Spritz. There we go. Can't wait to edit that out.
This podcast is now marked E for explicit.
Okay, the next thing we want to talk about, we actually kind of want to talk about the Clone Wars episode a little bit. Nathan, what is a false flag attack? Because now we're talking about Maul's takeover of Mandalore, because it is not a siege. We are not at the siege of Mandalore, but Maul is able to take over and win the hearts of the people through a false flag attack.
If I may jerk us back to reality for a moment.
Jerk away.
I feel like this is a little bit of a hot topic at the moment, considering there are a lot of people, including our moron pedo of a president, who claim that there might be a terrorist attack on U.S. soil, and people are saying it's going to be a false flag. They're immediately just like, we're putting that out there right now. If you guys don't know, there's sleeper cells all over the place. We know that they're there. We're going to get them, but they might get us. Hey, man, if you know that they are a sleeper cell of Iranian terrorists, which... not a great thing to say about people, because we know, hey Andrew, in our hometown, what happened in the 1940s?
Oh yeah, you're talking about how the Puyallup Fairgrounds was turned into an internment camp, and anyone of Japanese ancestry, or let's be honest, probably everyone who was just even a little bit Asian, was turned into prisoners. Overnight. They lost their businesses, they lost their homes, they lost their livelihoods, just because of the way they looked.
And guess what? They didn't find any spies or saboteurs. Didn't find any. So, super cool. So, hey man, again, going back, if it's a sleeper cell and you don't do anything, you're an idiot. And another thing, God, this guy makes me age faster every single day, but
Every day.
isn't the definition of a sleeper cell that you don't know that they're there?
You would think.
Yeah, so again, this just brings me back. It's hard to have all of like what's going on in the world right now and like watch this and be like, God damn it, this is the worst. And just think that all the time. But yes, this is a false flag attack, essentially. They are causing a conflict under false pretenses, and they're like, hey, we're not... So they don't really... Did you notice that a bunch of guards die? Like, they killed a bunch of, like, the Mandalorian,
yes.
like, soldiers or police or what do you want to call them. Whatever they are.
Part of the plan, so then they could replace those guards with members of Death Watch.
Right. They
People
still
who are
needed
not
those
loyal.
people dead. But, like, they don't show hardly any Syndicate or Death Watch casualties almost at all. So they go through and they're like, we know that we're going to go in with overwhelming force. There's way more of us than there are of them. These are the weapons. These are the stuff they bring. They're pacifist people. They're not going to be well trained. And they just wipe them. And then they're like, oh, no. You guys have been attacked by the Syndicates. What shall we do? And then Maul is like, I know what we're going to do. We're going to capture all of their leaders. And then Pre Vizsla is going to be the new prime minister. And that's exactly how it goes.
Yeah, Death Watch, which, guys, come on. A name like Death Watch, and they're like, oh, yes, our saviors, the Death Watch, to a society that has pretty solidly accepted pacifism as their role in the galaxy for quite a few years at this point. It's like, yes, let's turn to violence so fast. It's a little baffling, but also seeing how many people like believe what our pedophile of a president says every day and like don't think critically about that. I'm like, yeah, okay, this could happen pretty easily.
He doesn't even think critically about things. Everything he says, he'll literally contradict himself by the end of the day on almost everything he says.
Gosh, he's sundowning like a meteor. But talking about the Clone Wars, so with like a false flag attack, in this case, like it can be a military or a civilian target. So what the Mandalorian or what Death Watch does and the Syndicates and Maul is they choose kind of something that's like a little bit of both, because the guards are not the military, but they are an executive arm of the current government. And so getting rid of them also, it allows Death Watch to instantly install their own people into places of authority and places where they can tip the scales at a moment's notice, because they know that they are destabilizing this planet quite quickly. And Pre Vizsla, he gets really close to bringing a level of stability back to his little coup. He almost gets there, and then he does not, because he betrays Maul.
Yeah. So, Shouldn't have done that, my dude.
Yeah. And we will talk about how that resolves in next week's episode. Ad break for editor Andrew. I'll put in some ad reads. But also, we talked about in our last couple episodes, like, there's a lot going on in the galaxy right now. 19 BBY, before the Battle of Yavin, has like more conflict and more like pivotal galaxy changing events in it than like a lot of other years. What are some of the other stories that are happening concurrently to the conflict on Mandalore right now?
You wrote down so much for this, and I was like, God damn it, Andrew, you wrote down so many things. I'm like, so I
feel free to read some of my points.
I was going to say, I came up with a silly answer, which I realize now. I'm like, so Rot of the Hutt is like only a couple years old at this point, right? But I was like, theoretically, he's somewhere packing en masse, getting swole, hitting the gym, because he's got to be ready for Mando, and that slug has got an 8-pack. Let's go.
But
get it.
Mando is like 40 years down the road. Like, he's got...
But Hutts like live forever almost, so I'm like...
Hutts are very long-lived. I don't really understand the life cycle of Hutts, or even large species entirely. Like, we only live to... Without vaccines, we only live to like 40 or 50. Like, you guys remember that? Thank God for vaccines.
Brother, we'll remember it soon too. It will be in our lifetime that it. Never mind. Again,
Please stop.
So other stories that are happening right now. The council sends Quinlan Voss, which you wrote as Quinlan Vis, gross, and Ventress to kill Count Dooku. Doesn't go super well.
It does not go well.
And at this point, Clone Force 99 is also running around, absolutely wreaking havoc. Wreaking havoc? Yep.
Yes.
Stinky. And they're just like going nuts.
Also, at about this same time, somewhere Moff Gideon, or I guess probably just Gideon at this point, is climbing the ranks. I have not delved into his story and his backstory. I don't know if he was like previously a Republic officer, but he probably was. That's how a lot of the higher ups in the Imperial Army and Imperial Navy got their position, is because they were already there in the Republic Army, and they're like, yeah, I'll follow the new guy. So Gideon is out there somewhere. Maybe he's like an ensign or something at this point. I don't know. We also know
probably not, because I think he's probably like a lieutenant or something,
or he could even just be like a member of like a political advisor or something, some sort of political rank, because Moff is not necessarily a military rank. It's like almost like the rank of like governor.
That is true, but based on how he conducts himself, I bet he was part of the Imperial Navy. He also knows how to fly a TIE fighter, so I would say that his armor. Maybe he's an admiral. Maybe he's an admiral.
True. That would be cool to see, like Giancarlo Esposito in the Clone Wars, and see where he goes from being a Republic admiral to an Imperial admiral, and see him descend into evil and claim power, and then when the Empire eventually collapses, how he makes it out. That could be really interesting. They'd have to de-age him a little bit. Another character who's running around is an aspiring Chiss, known simply as Thrawn, who at this point in the story is still an officer in the Expansionary Defense Fleet. He is still outside the bounds of what is considered known space in what the Chiss call the chaos. That's why like known space has like a pretty hard border, because people who go out there tend to not come back or just die, because it gets a little weirder.
Because that's how space works. Yay!
And then another pretty important concurrent event that's going on is actually the bombing of the Jedi Temple, and Ahsoka being blamed for that. We end up finding out that is not her who did it. I mean, we knew it wasn't her the whole time because we're the omniscient viewer, but she leaves the Order, and that ends up essentially saving her life.
Moving on to our next point, Andrew, what are the Mandalorian plot threads that are worth noting here?
So there's a ton going on. The two threads that I think of right out of the gate is the Night Owls. So this is Clan Kryze, where Bo-Katan is a part of. God bless her soul. God, she's perfect. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say to stay respectful. Bo-Katan Kryze is perfect. And at this point,
the way
Death
you said
Watch,
perfect, not respectful.
it was real perverted. I'm going to cut that.
Gross.
Pervert. Also, Death Watch is still out there. Like, this is a portion of Death Watch that we're seeing, because Death Watch is also intervening on worlds that the Separatists are on, because we know this because Death Watch, or a branch of them, a more extreme branch of them, save little boy Din Djarin during the time, and they induct him into their ranks. He becomes a foundling during the Clone Wars, and Death Watch is responsible for saving his life. So they're out there doing all sorts of good things, all sorts of bad things, all sorts of terrible things. Honestly, it's a mixed bag with Death Watch. Like, it's mostly bad, but also like saving kids is good. Conscripting them into your military cult is bad. But saving them is
what
good.
Are you doing? What happens next? It's kind of crazy to think that this is one of the last times we're going to see the Mandalorians together as a complete society. everything hits the fan pretty not long after this in the grand scheme of things. When the Empire takes control, they're like, and quickly we are going to need to get rid of the Mandalorians, which I think is very sad.
Okay, so how do these events, i.e. the sacking of Mandalore and the death of Pre Vizsla, lead to later events for the Mandos?
I mean, this is how they get broken up into war bands. I mean, we see in Mando that these guys are all struggling to survive, and it's their push underground that, like, this is like where that starts. That, like, the society has essentially got its first crack at this point, and the Empire just broke it. So, I mean, there's a lot of unrest happening here.
Yeah, we definitely see the fracturing of the clans. Mandalore, if Mandalore does not stand together, it will not be able to fend off external threats, and we absolutely see that. I think Moff Gideon actually calls it like the Night of 1,000 Tears or something like that. And we do see some flashback footage in The Mandalorian where it's a bunch of TIE bombers just glassing Mandalore. It's not good for them.
This is actually one of the first on-screen examples of, I believe, atomics in Star Wars.
Oh, interesting. Actually, yeah, I think you're right. I don't think we ever see this level of bombing or really even like single like explosion from like a single weapon.
I'm trying to remember if they did. So the Mandalorians were bombarded with fusion bombs. And so let me see. Fusion bombs was a type of powerful bomb device utilized by the Galactic Empire. Are atomics fission reactions or fusion reactions?
They're fission, I'm pretty sure, because we're trying to create cold fusion as a form of renewable power.
Interesting. So
a fusion bomb, I think, still is a lot of energy, because like cold fusion is like, fusion light, and isn't that what our stars do? Is fusion, not fission?
Yes. So it's still giving off a lot of energy, but also the way that they describe it, it's like the bombs were also capable of disrupting the magnetic field of the planet and causing communication interference as well as pollution of the world's atmosphere. Pollution, fallout.
It's atomics.
EMP,
it's atomics.
Magnetic. I'm like, yeah, you guys are describing atomic bombs, but you used the opposite word. So it's very strange.
Yeah, I think if humanity created fusion bombs, we would be many seconds closer to midnight on the doomsday clock. And we're already pretty damn close.
Based on a cursory Google search, a second-generation nuclear weapon is using nuclear fusion. So it is directly a nuke.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even using the right word,
Okay.
not even using the wrong word. It is these are nukes.
Yeah, these are nukes. Okay, so yeah, that is settled. With that, the last thing I want to talk about before we go into lore or legends and a little bit of nerddom news is the death of Pre Vizsla. I mean, Nathan, gut reaction. What did you think watching this scene?
I mean, like, he had to die eventually. Like, I was surprised he made it up to this point because he does make several appearances earlier in the series, and I'm like, how is this guy still alive? Like, he's got to die eventually.
Yeah, I mean, he really... Pre Vizsla just chases war his entire life, and it finally catches up to him in the form of Maul. And like Pre Vizsla is a little bit of a dumbass because he lets Maul live. He should have killed him, but instead Maul is allowed to challenge him in ritual combat and take everything from him. And the thing is like, Pre Vizsla didn't lose that fight when Maul challenged him. He lost that fight when he didn't kill Maul when he had the chance.
Yep. Which, it doesn't make any sense for his character. I'm like, dude, your whole thing is like, you're a warrior. Like, why wouldn't you just give him a warrior's death? That's like theoretically the more honorable thing to do based on your customs. You showing mercy is something you mock other people for.
Yeah, and Pre Vizsla has to know that, like, he cannot beat Maul in a fair fight. And so Maul challenges him to a one-on-one, and Pre Vizsla just, like, he gladly accepts. He doesn't, like, try to get out of it. He doesn't try to weasel his way through. He just steps up to the line, and he's like, let's do this. Like, I'm not going to go down like a coward. It's like, dude, you're going to lose, though. Like, you're going to lose everything you fought for. Like, because of honor. Like yes, honor is a good thing, but honor mixed with stupidity leads to your death.
Yeah, definitely.
Very frustrating to see. The fight itself is great. Honestly, Pre Vizsla actually has Maul on the ropes while he's using a lot of his like alternative methods to just a straight sword fight. He's using his blasters, his flamethrowers, his increased maneuverability through his jetpack, and he's able to keep Maul on his toes, and even to the point where Maul is having to roll out of the way of explosives. And as soon as he plants his feet, pulls out the Darksaber, and just tries to hack Maul to pieces, he loses.
Yeah, dude, don't challenge a Sith Lord to a sword fight. That's just stupid.
Especially one as deadly with a lightsaber as Darth Maul. Like, Darth Maul, literally his entire point was Sidious needed an attack dog to kill Jedi, and so that's all he knows. Like, to the exclusion of all other teachings of the dark side, lightsaber combat is his number one category. He put all of his points into there. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and for that reason, which ironically, Pre Vizsla lacks vision to see that he cannot beat Maul in a fair fight. Vision is one of these things that Maul and Pre Vizsla go back and forth on. And it gets him killed. And he's whether or not the rest of the Mandalorian conflict would have gone differently with Pre Vizsla at the head, because Maul doesn't actually care about the Mandalorians, right? He doesn't care about their society. He wants an army, and he doesn't care what they do or how they're paid or fed, or the Mandalorians are a tool to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think kind of my final thing here is, like, it's just kind of a bummer because the Mandalorians are some of the strongest warriors in the galaxy, and if they had not needed this coup, I think they needed to have done is they needed to start taking their warrior traditions a little bit more seriously again, especially when the Clone Wars started. I think that should have been like hey, yeah, we can still remain neutral, but like just because you're neutral doesn't mean you have to be defenseless. Those are two different things. But the show does a really bad job at telling those two things apart, because Sabine is a pacifist and
Satine. Sabine
you're right.
Mandalorian.
Sabine is a Mandalorian, a different Mando. Satine, Obi-Wan's girlfriend, is a pacifist, and you can't be a pacifist in a position like Prime Minister. Like, it doesn't work. Like, you can be as noble as you want, but like, history has shown, and like, the world that they're in is super violent kind of all the time. So people will take advantage of you right away. Like, you have to be more you have to be more prepared than Satine was willing the Mandalorian people to be.
Yeah, and like, they don't need a foreign policy like the United States where we stick our nose into everything and we think we're the world police, which is not going well, by the way. They don't have to do that, but also like the Mandalorian tradition, like they probably could have been just as peaceful without being defenseless. You know, yeah. So I totally agree. And if they had not alienated Death Watch probably so many years ago, they wouldn't have these essentially right-wing extremists who took over the government with their guns.
Brother, we have been recording for a little bit of time. Do we want to hit the nerddom news really quick and then do our lore legends?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we haven't done nerddom news in a while, but we got a lot of different drops, so we just want to make sure that we share some things with you. So we have an incoming transmission. Have you ever seen a meme and thought, this has to be the rule right away? And it's Lisa giving her presentation from The Simpsons. If your game is going to take longer than 2 years to release, don't reveal it yet. That's a great rule.
I think that's an excellent rule, actually. And
print that out and put it on a sticker.
Most games do take longer than 2 years, but like, we know that, and we don't really want to hear, like, they reveal games too soon because they want the hype to be real. But then
hype doesn't even last that long.
Anywhere. Like, GTA 6 is never going to happen. Like,
Yeah, the world will have nuked itself into oblivion before GTA 6 comes out.
Yeah, it just keeps like that. That's like the epitome of this example. Skyrim 6 is also another one. Because like people are
Elder
like,
Scrolls,
Skyrim 6.
brother, Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
wow.
they're like Elder Scrolls 6
Not a real
is in
fan.
development. The fans think that it's in development. I don't think we've actually heard any confirmation on whether or not it's in development.
We
haven't heard
actually,
anything.
I was talking to a coworker about this today. He read just a news article, or I should say he read the title of a news article, which can be super misleading because there's no journalistic integrity anymore. Make sure you check out our sponsor, Ground News. And there was, who does Elder Scrolls? What is the company name? I forgot.
Bethesda.
Apparently Bethesda is reallocating Todd Howard. I don't care what the CEO name is. See, you know my opinions on rich people.
Yeah, fuck them.
Put them in a Hunger Games and give their money to us. Anyways,
100%.
Official stance of the podcast, actually. And they have apparently allocated more of their developer resources, a majority at this point, to working on the newest Elder Scrolls game.
I will believe it when I see it.
Right? Yeah, you're like, just because you allocated more resources doesn't mean it's going to happen.
And speaking of believing it till we see it, there's quite a few Star Wars games that have broken this rule. There's some that have not, and there's some that definitely have. One of which is Star Wars Eclipse, which was released in December 2021. It is going to be a 5-year-old trailer this year, and we're not even sure that the game is out of early development. They should have just said nothing. And the thing is it wasn't like a proof of concept trailer with like, wireframe sketches and like different concept art. It was a banging trailer that went so hard. We were like, we must be getting this game imminently. And we haven't heard a peep. Like,
it's been 4.5 long years. We have been waiting for the Eclipse trailer longer than the Clone Wars took.
Well, I hate that. Like, the actual Clone Wars took 3 years.
Yeah.
Which still is too short of a war.
It doesn't make sense. The scaling's all wrong.
The scaling's all wrong for that, but that's not why we're here. Another game that has broken this rule is the KOTOR remake was actually announced before Star Wars Eclipse. Again, there is no sign of life that the KOTOR remake is happening. Again, I will believe it when I see it, but at this point we're like,
devastating news.
We can't in good faith say that it's going to happen because they've given us no evidence that that's the case.
Yeah, that's crazy. We also have titles that have come out in 2025, so a little bit more recently, but again, some of these are already coming up on a year away, like Star Wars Zero Company, which got its trailer or its teaser, whatever it was, released in April of 2025, so it is 11 months old at this point. We also have Fate of the Old Republic, which looks, again, banging, Galactic Racer, and the Untitled Trading Card Game, all 3 of those titles coming out in December of 2025, so only a couple of months old.
No, they were announced in December 2025.
Announced, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to imply that they're already out, because that's not, yeah.
And for 2 of those, Zero Company and Galactic Racer, we have release dates of this year. So they are following the 2-year rule just fine, totally nailing it. Fate of the Old Republic, I have a hard time seeing this as not going the way of Eclipse. I think it is going to be 2+ years until we see anything. I'd love to be wrong. I don't think I'm going to be. And then the Untitled Trading Card Game. So we have speculated that this is going to be a Star Wars version of like Marvel Snap.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, it would be very cool. It's coming to Android, iOS, and PC. It's going to be probably a Hearthstone Marvel Snap type game.
I know you're not a fan of Apple, but it's not coming to Apple?
I said iOS.
Oh, you did? Okay. I thought,
yeah.
In my brain, all I heard was Android and PC, and I was like, what?
Wait a minute. That would be so funny. That would be really funny.
I would be crushed.
I was going to say some other like non-Star Wars games that have followed this rule. I'll name one, Warhammer 1. I didn't look up the dates for the others. But Dawn of War 4 was announced in August 2025 and is going to come out this year, so it's following the rule. You see how it's actually not that hard? Like, people who make games understand development cycles and how far along they are. Just wait longer. And I know it's sort of the thing where, like, if they release it and they announce it, that they could potentially get more funding. But, like, if they're already struggling for funding in early development, that seems more worrying to me than not, because they're like, oh crap, we're running out of money and it's been like however long already and we have nothing to show for it. Like, that doesn't feel good. I don't know. Yeah.
Andrew, you have some Helldivers news to pass along.
Yeah, so Helldivers is continuing to make content. We're kind of away from the bot front at the moment, and we're moving back to the Illuminate front. The Illuminate just got a new unit that looks like a little walker. It's like a mid-tier unit. He actually reminds me of the vehicles from the Umbarans, because there's a warrior kind of nestled in the middle of it, suspended in like an energy shield bubble, and it's very cool, and I'm excited to mow them down.
That sounds awesome.
I think next week we'll probably do a movie trailer roundup, because there's going to be a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's so many things. Oh my goodness.
And I think we'll also give you our opinion on the upcoming Dunes Day, which is the day that Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday.
Oh yeah.
They're
this
coming out
year's
on the same day.
Barbenheimer.
It's this year's Barbenheimer.
Let's go.
We'll be giving our opinions on that. I think that's probably all the news we want to cover today. The recording's getting long, and we can move everything we didn't talk about into next week, because it will still be relevant.
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's move on to Lore or Legends.
All right, folks, if you are joining us for the first time, we are happy you made it this far into the episode. Please consider supporting us on Patreon. But we like to do a little trivia segment where Andrew and I basically play two truths and a lie with each other about Star Wars, Warhammer, and a bunch of other nerdy stuff. And we call it Lore or Legends. If you don't know why we call it that, it's because Legends are not canon anymore in Star Wars, and we're still mad about it, so we incorporated it into our game show. Andrew, would you please start with our first item today? Oh, wait, before we start, the score. It's 9-7 all. We're tied, brother.
We're tied.
Let's see who takes the lead. Get ready, kitten. I'm about to take the weed. Why are you so bright all of a sudden? There we go.
I do not know why my camera did that.
Did you open a Word doc by chance?
No, I already had it open. I just leaned forward and my camera was like, all the exposure.
Nice.
Off your white skin.
Scandinavian.
Flashbang. White Skin Flashbang. That's a good band name.
Okay. New band name, I call it.
Your topic today is literal Star Wars legends. I am going to give you 3 facts about Star Wars, and you have to tell me which one is categorized as a legend and which one are canon. So it is extremely literal on our lore or legends. You are going to tell me which of these is the Star Wars legend.
I have many bad words for you. Okay, continue.
Okay, here we go. During the Clone Wars, but not as an active participant, Thrawn is exiled from the Chiss Ascendancy, marooned on an Outer Rim world, and then picked up by the Empire, where he is made into an Imperial officer. That is point number 1. Point number 2, post-Empire, as the Master of the Jedi Order, Luke Skywalker is gallivanting around the galaxy and discovers a new favorite beverage that seems to be his go-to order at any cantina he pops into. That beverage would be hot chocolate. Point number 3. Well before the Clone Wars, the Shadow World of Umbara was home to a dark side academy that actually trained Sith assassins. Which one of those is the Star Wars legend and is considered non-canon?
Crap. Can you remind me of the topic of item number 1, please?
During the Clone Wars, but not as an active participant, Thrawn is exiled from the Chiss Ascendancy, marooned on an Outer Rim world, and then is picked up by the Empire.
I'm going to say number 1 is the legend, because that is the occurrence of how Thrawn meets the Empire in the original trilogy from Timothy Zahn.
That is incorrect.
Fudge!
That is also what happens in the Thrawn Ascendancy books, which are canon, also written by Timothy Zahn. He essentially create.
Is it the hot chocolate thing?
No, the hot chocolate, that's also canon. Luke Skywalker's favorite drink in canon and Legends is hot chocolate.
Okay, I was like, man, I don't know if they put that or not. That means it's the Sith Academy then.
It is the Sith Academy.
Dang it.
Canon, Umbara was not home to the Sith Assassin Training Academy.
I didn't know enough. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, that bit of lore just was like wiped away from Umbara. Yeah, we don't. There's actually very little lore on Umbara outside of the actual
Clone Wars story arc.
The Clone Wars story arc. That's correct.
Yep. Okay.
9-8.
Changing my score, so I have another loss. I'm getting real close to 50%, and that kind of pisses me off. Okay. The theme is going to be Star Wars lore, specifically talking about ships. Get ready. Item number 1. In Season 1, Episode 2 of the Clone Wars, Master Plo Koon was sent with a scout group of 4 Venator-class cruisers to take out the Malevolence, a Conqueror-class heavy cruiser that was causing significant damage to the Republic's navy. Eventually, Anakin and Obi-Wan were able to board the ship and rig its navigation computer to drive it directly into the system's sun. Item number 2. The Lucrehulk-class battleship features a large outer ring surrounding a center sphere. These ships were used as droid control centers until the events of the invasion of Naboo highlighted a key weakness in its design and its outcome on the ground war below. The battleship has a complement of over 1,000 battle cannons of different calibers and can hold a navy of 1,500 Vulture-class droid starfighters. Item number 3. The Hammerhead Corvette was a model of Corvette that saw use by the Rebel Alliance and New Republic. This ship costs 1 million credits and was used to great effect against Imperial Star Destroyers at Scarif, with the Lightmaker, the name of that specific Hammerhead Corvette, accumulating a double Star Destroyer tally by causing a collision of one capital ship into another and then into the shield gate minutes before the Devastator arrives on scene.
Okay, there's so much crap in here that, like, could be wrong. So you said there's almost something about everything that I think could be wrong. The first one, can you remind me?
It is about the Malevolence.
Yeah, you said it was, I think, a Conqueror class. I don't think it's a Conqueror. I think it's, like, something else. I think that could be wrong. In the second one, you gave me a bunch of numbers, and I'm like, I don't know numbers. That's crazy. The third one, I think, is probably the most wrong because you said it was like only 1 million credits.
1 million credits, according to the wiki.
Star Wars' economy is not well thought out. That could be true. It doesn't make a lick of sense for a spacefaring vessel. We put like $1 million worth of fuel into our rockets when we shoot them into space. Like, for a Corvette to be worth $1 million, that seems low unless the galactic credit is crazy valuable. But you also said that the Hammerhead Corvette is used by the New Republic and the Rebel Alliance. I don't think it's used by the New Republic, and that's why it's going to be my official answer, because it was originally an Old Republic ship, and the Rebel Alliance basically took it out of retirement and found a bunch of them, and then they used them. But I do not think the New Republic uses these, the Hammerhead Corvette.
That is incorrect, brother.
Dude, fuck me. Are you kidding?
No. So the New Republic does use these. So if you do remember, the New Republic is actually really not that great of a military force. The Rebel Alliance,
it's pretty bad,
struggles to essentially do what Pre-Vizsla tried to do to Mandalore. Like, they had to take it over, but then also maintain the system so it didn't break down. So any ship they had was going to stay into commission. And I gave myself away a little bit because I said it was directly from the wiki, which I shouldn't have said. The ship does cost 2 million credits, and you got it right on the nose. The economy,
that makes no sense.
And you knew it. Like, the economy in Star Wars makes no sense. But you said the right answer, one of the right answers in item number 1.
It's not a Conqueror class. Like, the Malevolence is like the Malevolence class or something like
so
that.
It is a subjugator class heavy cruiser. So do you know what I did for that? Is I literally looked up a synonym for subjugator, changed it, and you got that right.
Yeah,
I actually included 3 errors in this one because I thought that was too hard. So there are 3 errors in item number 1. The first is Master Plo Koon was set with a scout group of 4 Venator class cruisers. It's only 3. Then
that's such. I'm so mad. That's such a dumb clue. There's no way I would get.
That's why I put 3 of them. That's why, again, I feel like it's fair. So It is you got the class title that was different, and also Anakin and Obi-Wan do not crash the ship into the system's sun; they crash it into a dead moon.
Semantics. I'm about to like have a Brendan Lee Mulligan level of like rant right now because I'm like, God damn it!
This is what you do to me every week. And again, I tried to be fair and give you multiple things that were wrong about it because you are really good at pulling out details.
See, those other details pushed me further away, not closer. Because...
Dude, no. Here's the thing. When I was writing that and I saw that it was only 1 million credits on the wiki, I was like, he's going to stick with this right away. I'm putting it in there.
Because it's so stupid.
It is. It's so dumb.
So stupid. Like, oh my God. So... the reason I didn't pick one is because, like, when you said, like, 4 Venators, at first I was like, maybe it was Acclimators because it's literally, like, the beginning of the series, but at that point, they had moved on to the Venator cruiser already somehow. That actually doesn't make any sense either, how they were able to iterate on the Acclimator so quickly. But... I remember in an earlier episode of Lore or Legends, you essentially told me one of your rules when you were writing is that I'm going to stick to the rule of magnitudes, and that if I'm going to make a number be wrong, it's going to be off by an order of magnitude, which this was not.
That's
so
true.
I was like, it can't be that.
That's true.
So I would like an asterisk next to my 9/8 score.
I'm not going to put an asterisk next to your 9/8 score.
Okay.
Because I feel like
right.
Again, I tried to give you multiple details. I feel like that is my justification for why it was not an order of magnitude.
And in your defense, I have boned you pretty hard on some of my other clues. Just the rudest possible.
Yeah, so I don't want to hear it, brother. The people will speak up.
Justice for thee and not for me. Or wait. The other way around.
No. Justice for me and not for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Andrew, go ahead and hit me with your second item, please, and maybe I can get farther away from this 500 number that's about to encroach.
Notable Horus Heresy confrontations. At a modest 53rd place in the Horus Heresy saga, the Battle of Beta Garmin was dubbed Titan Death. The traitor fleet is bearing down on Holy Terra, but they cannot reach the Sol system without first destroying the forces at Beta Garmin. So it was on this battlefield that Horus Lupercal deployed his Titan legions, including the DSE Ray, to exterminate the Loyalists and see his crusade through to the end. That's clue number 1. The second one. Preluding the Siege of Terra, Horus and the traitor Primarchs finally have their final target in sight. Inside the Sol system, they are met against the mighty defenses of the Loyalist legions, crafted by none other than Rogel Dorn himself, the Praetorian of Terra. It is upon entering the system that the Imperial Fist Primarch would face off against the traitor Kurz and strike him down. Number 3. Not to be left out of the bloodshed, the Loyalist legions were betrayed at the Istvan drop site, where upon landing their troops, they ran headfirst into a trap. The Raven Guard, Salamanders, and Iron Hands were crushed almost to oblivion, and even saw the death of one of their Primarchs when Fulgrim lopped off the head of his brother, Ferrus Manus.
Can you repeat number 2?
Preluding the Siege of Terra, Horus and the traitor Primarchs have their final target in sight. Inside the Sol system, they are met against the mighty defenses of the Loyalist legions, crafted by none other than Rogel Dorn himself, the Praetorian of Terra. It was upon entering this system that the Imperial Fist Primarch would face off against the traitor Kurz and strike him down.
I am going to say that number 2 is the fiction because I don't believe Rogel Dorn is the one that kills Kurz. Fun fact, I haven't read that far into the Horus Heresy yet, so I don't...
Oh, damn, did I just spoil a bunch of stuff for you?
Dude, it's the Horus Heresy. I know everyone who dies or not. I just don't know, like, the order of events. Like, that's the whole point of the series, is you know what happens at the end. Sanguinius dies? What?
Wait, what happens at the end? Horus, no!
Horus is the bad guy? I'm going to say it's number 2 because I thought the lion killed him, or maybe it was Vulcan, but I don't think it's Rogel Dorn. Rogel Dorn already kills another Primarch. He kills Alfarius, or Omegon, depending on how you believe it. So I don't think he has a double tally.
Yeah, you're correct. Kurz is already dead by the time the traitors reach the Sol system, and it's actually at the Battle of Pluto that Rogel Dorn kills Alfarius and not Kurz.
Dude, that book is so weird. I've listened to that book twice where he kills him, and the whole time I'm lost on that entire thing. I'm like, where in the solar system are we? What is going on? Like, it confuses me all the time. The Horus Heresy is that, like, I love the Horus Heresy. There's a lot of cool lore in there, but man, it is a convoluted story because it's 60,000 books long.
Yeah, I think the Warhammer fans who, one, have read all of them, and two, think that the entire thing is a clear and coherent story are not being honest. Like, there's some parts in it
close.
that are just, they're very odd. You cannot write 60 plus books and have them all be winners.
100%. That puts
all right,
me
so
up
you're
to
at
10 points. Let's go.
10 and 8.
All right, brother.
I'm looking at these scores like baseball averages, so you are batting better than Mickey Mantle.
All right, brother. Your theme for this next one is Star Wars fortresses. Okay, item number 1. Vader's castle, located on Mustafar, is located on the site of a Sith temple with a dark-side locus inside. The castle itself was designed by the preserved consciousness of Darth Momin through means of a possessed mask of an Imperial lieutenant. Sorry, had to burp again. Item number 2. The Fortress Inquisitorius was a structure that housed the Imperial Inquisitor program on the ocean moon of Mur and the Mustafar system. This base of operations was used to counter the threat of Force users in the galaxy. Jedi have visited the fortress for different reasons, but notable Jedi that messed around here are Cal Kestis and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Item number 3. Jabba's palace is located in the northern Dune Sea and housed a multitude of creatures, including scores of Gamorreans, a Rancor, and a huge variety of aliens. This palace is featured in Battlefront 2 as a playable map and passes ownership from Jabba to Boba Fett in the series The Book of Boba Fett, where Boba is able to install his own bacta tank he uses to heal from his many wounds he incurs on Tatooine.
One of the things you said is that, like, the creatures that Jabba has is, like, scores of Gamorreans. Those are his employees, not creatures.
Sorry, they're people now. Okay.
But you said Jabba's palace. Can you say the Battlefront bit again?
The palace is featured in Battlefront 2 as a playable map.
I'm pretty sure that's true, but I don't remember if it's a Battlefront 1. No, it's in Battlefront 2.
I was going to say, not a detail I'm trying to trip you up on, is which Battlefront it came into.
Can you, what's the first one again? It's Vader's Castle.
Vader's Castle, located on Mustafar on the site of a Sith temple, Sith temple with a dark side locus inside. Castle designed by a preserved consciousness of a Sith Lord, Darth Maul.
There's a lot of lore around Vader's Castle and Vader's Fortress. I've even played through the VR experience, but that was like 2020, like 2021. I don't really remember it all that well. I'm going to guess number 1 because you threw a lot of details in there, and I don't think it was built on a Sith temple.
That is incorrect. Everything about item number 1 is correct. If not item number 1, which one would you have guessed?
Just tell me.
Item number 3. And the part that is wrong is that the ownership of Jabba's palace goes from Jabba to Boba Fett. It actually goes to Bib Fortuna first, where Boba is able to take it away from him. Jabba is already dead by the time Book of Boba Fett comes around.
Yeah, you got me with that one. I knew that, and I just missed it. I got so caught up on the Battlefront detail, I should have had you read the whole thing in its entirety, and I probably would have got it.
Yeah, I stopped right there. I was like, and playable map. I was like, he did not ask me to read the rest of it, so I'm not going to.
Nope, you're right. I didn't ask you. I said reread the Battlefront part.
Well played, brother. Well played.
No, it wasn't.
No. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of this portion of Lore Legends. With that, we are going to take it into our outro because this is a hella long episode so far. Huge thanks to all of our patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David. You guys, if you made it to this point, you owe us $5 because you have gotten scores of entertainment from this point.
We'll settle for a like on the video too. But
interact with the videos on YouTube. YouTube is getting worse and worse by the day, so make sure you guys support us over there because it takes more and more requirements, I swear, every time I look at it. If you guys don't know, we're basically everywhere on social media, like the Rebellion. We have friends everywhere. And Andrew, May the Force be with you, brother.